You know what is interesting about introverts? Everyone thinks we're at a disadvantage, but being introverted is actually one of the biggest communication advantages you can have. Now, people just misunderstand what introversion really means. And for years, so did I. For a long time, I genuinely believed that being an introvert meant I was automatically worse in social situations. I believed I was supposed to struggle more, speak less, hesitate more, and have less presence. I thought extroverts were naturally better communicators because they seemed confident and comfortable in every room. And the worst part was that I accepted it. I thought it was just who I was, a socially anxious introvert who would never feel confident speaking to other people. Now, someone who would always feel slightly behind in conversations, always slightly tense, always slightly unsure. But none of that was actually true. The problem was the meaning I had attached to the word introvert. I thought introvert meant shy. I thought introvert meant socially unskilled. I thought it meant less capable. And it took me years to understand that introversion has nothing to do with communication skills at all. Here's what I wish someone had told me earlier. When Carl Jung introduced the concepts of introversion and extroversion in the early 1900s, he was not talking about confidence. He was not talking about social ability. He was talking about energy. Specifically, where you recharge. Extroverts recharge by being around people. Introverts recharge by being alone. That is it. That is the whole definition. Nothing about being outgoing or shy. Nothing about being good or bad with people. Nothing about communication ability at all. Just energy. And when modern psychology looks at introversion now, it keeps confirming the same thing. Introversion is an energy pattern, not a skill pattern. It says nothing about how good you can become at speaking, leading, influencing, or connecting with people. In fact, some of the strongest communicators in the world are introverts. Some of the most powerful leaders, coaches, therapists, performers, and speakers are introverts. Not because they changed their personality, but because introversion gives specific strengths that most people never learn to use. And this is where things finally clicked for me. Because once you stop seeing introversion as a limitation, you can actually look at it, what it gives you. And the truth is, introverts come with a set of strengths that most people never notice. Mostly because nobody ever points them out. Some of these will probably surprise you at first, maybe even feel a bit unfamiliar. But once you hear them, they make complete sense. And when you become aware of them, you can start using them on purpose. So let's look at a few advantages introverts naturally have, even if you've never seen them as strengths before. Now, introverts process information more deeply because your brain likes to slow things down before it reacts. You don't jump into a reply, you think, you connect dots, you take in what's actually being said instead of rushing to fill the silence. And that extra moment you take makes your message clearer. Now, when you finally speak, the thought has already had time to settle. And that's why introverts often sound more grounded and more intentional. The idea is fully formed before it actually comes out. Now, introverts are naturally more observant because your attention goes outward instead of inward. You're not trying to perform or impress anyone. You're just watching. You're listening. You're picking up tone, micro reactions, body language, energy shifts, and the little things that most people miss. And these details help you respond in a way that fits the moment instead of talking over people. That observational awareness makes you come across as calm, thoughtful, and socially intelligent, even when you don't say much. Introverts speak more intentionally because you don't throw out random sentences just to fill the silence. You choose your words. You think about what you want to say before you actually say it. And when you do talk, it usually has weight. People feel that. It makes you sound more credible, more mature, and more grounded. Extroverts talk to think. Introverts think before they talk. And that simple difference can make your communication feel much clearer. And then introverts shine in one-to-one and small group conversations because you're more present. You're not scattered. You're not bouncing from one room to another. You're focused on that moment. And that focus makes people feel seen. It makes them feel like you're actually really there with them instead of half listening while waiting for your turn to talk. Now, people interpret that presence as confidence, the calm kind, not the loud kind. And that's the type of communication that builds real trust very fast. And here's the funny part. The reason extroverts often become better communicators earlier is not personality. It is just repetition. They socialize more often, they get more practice, they talk more, they get more hours. But introverts practice more intentionally once they finally do, because every social moment costs energy. So when you do speak up, you train yourself faster than you think. You just need the right mindset to use it. So here's how to turn introversion into a communication superpower. First, stop calling it a disadvantage. There is nothing about introversion that limits your communication ability. When you stop blaming your temperament, you free up your identity to grow. Second, lean into your observational strength. When you enter a room, you naturally scan before you speak. And that is not hesitation, that is data. And good communication always starts with awareness. Third, use preparation as your advantage. Introverts do extremely well when they mentally prepare before speaking. Now, you do not need a long script, just a simple structure, one clear idea you want to express, one example, one reason why it matters. That is enough. Fourth is practice small visibility. You don't need to dominate every room, you just need small moments of presence. Answer one question, add one thought, ask one follow-up question. Each small action builds confidence much faster than trying to force extroverts' behavior. Fifth, stop comparing your communication abilities to extroverts. You're not supposed to sound like them. Extroverted charisma comes from energy. Introverted charisma comes from clarity, calm, presence, and thoughtful expression. Both are powerful in different ways, and the more you understand introversion, the more obvious this becomes. So being introverted does not limit your communication, it enhances it. You just have to use the strengths that are already there. So that is all there is to introversion. It is just about energy. It has nothing to do with your communicational abilities or how good or charismatic you are in certain situations. It is whether you recharge by being around other people or being by yourself. And there are so many advantages to actually being an introvert. You just have to see them. You just have to use them to your advantage. You have to use them intentionally. And that is when introversion becomes this absolute powerhouse. It becomes your superpower. So don't see it as a disadvantage. Don't see what or listen to what other people say to you or tell you. I know I heard that so many times in my childhood growing up that introversion was supposed to be a disadvantage, but it's not. I'm sitting here teaching you this. I'm sitting here recording a YouTube video. I've spoken on stages multiple times just in the last year, and I am an introvert. Now, I don't see it as a disadvantage anymore, just because I see the actual advantages of being one. Now, it can absolutely be difficult. It can absolutely be hard to improve your communication skills whilst you are an introvert. It will make it a bit more difficult. But don't worry. Use the advantages you have and start practicing your communication skills, and you will see how good it is to be an introvert. And remember, there's no feeling bad about having to recharge by being alone. If you need to be alone for a while, go to the bathroom for 30 minutes and just sit there. Take your time and then go out and network again if you're at a networking event. It doesn't really matter. The point is, there is certain advantages to being an introvert, and that is what you have to understand. It is not a disadvantage, it is kind of a good thing actually. And if you want to go deeper into this and build the kind of confidence that stays with you in every room, not the fake service type, I'm hosting a free webinar on November 28th, this Friday, how to become dangerously confident. The link is in the description. Save your seat right now. I really hope I get to see you there. And if you like this type of content, I post breakdowns like this multiple times a week to help you master communication and feel very confident when you speak. See you in the next video. Bye bye.